This is one of the darkest corners of the internet. There's jokes about killing all the men, having a plague, getting rid of them all, disgusting moist.
What's the darkest thing you've ever seen in one of those? Oh my God, I can't watch that. I actually can't do this.
It feels like it's a real identity. That's quite ironic and self-deprecating.
So what is going on here? Well, this is a little documentary that I found talking about Femcels. And of course, a Femcel is a female involuntary celibate, kind of like an incel. Only, of course, incels are bad. What about the Femcels? Are they bad too, or are we supposed to feel sorry for them? I think we all know the answer to that we're supposed to feel sorry for them. Now, I want to point this out because this would not exist to any large degree, except for feminism has allowed this to exist. There were, of course, spinsters and old maids before the 1960s Civil Rights Act, giving women equal pay, etc. But they were rare, they were fewer and farther between. It was harder for women to make their way on their own. They could do it, but it was harder before the 1960s. So let's go ahead and dive into this short documentary here. I'm going to cut it up because there's some stuff in here that's not necessary to even talk about or think about, but I'll leave a link down in the comments to the original. Before we get started, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed because YouTube, of course, does unsubscribe people every single day. You can find me on Rumble, Twitter, BitChute, Odyssey. And let's dive in here.
This is one of the darkest corners of the internet, a space where women calling themselves femcels are posting extreme and sometimes violent content. There's jokes about killing all the men, having a plague, getting rid of them all, disgusting moids.
What's moids?
Like a derogatory term for men.
So right off the bat, we can stop and make commentary because, okay, so they have a nickname for men that is not flattering. I don't know if it stands for anything, what a moid is, other than it's for men. I mean, it refers to men. Of course, if there was a nickname for women, then it was made by men, made by incels. Of course, they'd all be calling us incels, even if people who were not incels were using it. And then, of course, did you see there at the beginning? It said hate all men, and if men were talking like this about women, they're bad. The double standard, of course, that we see all the time.
I know that incel misogyny broke out of the internet forums and into the real world when Elliot Rodger shot and killed 6 people in 2014. Is there a genuine risk that femcels might go the same way incels have?
What's the darkest thing you've ever seen in one of those? Oh my God, I can't watch that. I actually can't do this. I want to shoot every one of their heads off with a BB gun.
I want to go inside the femcel community to find out who these women really are. Are they the female equivalent of incels? And just how extreme might they be? If you start researching the word femcel, it pops up all over the internet. The femcel hashtag on TikTok has nearly 1 billion views. It feels like it's a real identity. That's quite ironic and self-deprecating. And then you have this other end of the spectrum, which is a quite extreme misandry and these forums where people are discussing being a femcel and what that means and seeing it as quite an ideological worldview. It feels pretty dark in here. There's like posts here saying, I think all men should start off in jail and prove their way out. It just feels so much broader than...
And again, we see the double standard. Like, what if we said all women should start off in jail and then work their way out, prove their way out? That, of course, it would be like, that's what we already do. That's how it already is. Women are held back by men. Rah, 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 the patriarchy. Rah. But we know it's not true. Women have every advantage when they start off. I ran across this when I was in community college. I figured it out real quick. I'm like, women not interested in me. What do I have to do to get women interested in me? Wait a second. Why do I have to do anything to get a woman interested in me? I'm interested in all these different women I see here at the college. And they didn't have to do a thing. And then roll out of bed and brush their hair, put on some clothes that are flattering. But I don't have a girlfriend. Why is that? Figured out real quick. Women have all the advantage. Young women do anyway.
It says, this is a server for femcels and incels. If you're a normie, you'll be banned on site. This is not a place for you. Go back to Reddit. And I'm chatting to a femcel, Al. So she says that she's been part of this community for 3 to 4 years, and she said she finds it very comforting to have the femcel term almost as a security blanket. I'll ask her what she means by that. She said good and bad.
So it's kind of sad that you think that you have to have this identity, this group that you belong to. I understand like having a group of people that you can talk to, spend time with is comforting. It's very important. We need those social connections with humans, but why the femcel? Why is it that you want to identify yourself as a person who cannot garner male attention, male interest, a relationship with a man? I don't know. It's not like that would be a badge of honor for me to be like, that's right, I can't get a woman. Yep, I'm awesome. Oh, yeah.
bad experiences, most of the bad experiences usually because of incels. She mentioned that she does have some distaste for men, so I'm curious as to what that is. You describe yourself as a femcel. What does that mean to you?
Femcel to me just means someone who has, gone through enough life experiences with men to sort of have this disdain for them, and it shouldn't be an insult to us. We are involuntary celibate. We do hold these radicalized feminist views, so why not make a community out of it? 3 years ago or so, you would have been able to go onto Reddit and find.
Right, and they want to get rid of going your own way because it's a radicalized male point of view, but they can have these radicalized feminist point of views. It's okay. There's no meninist, right? I mean, the meninist movement's a joke, and men are ready and willing to admit we need women, we want women, we like women, we want to be around women, we want to be with women. Or women are so quick to go oh, men are evil, men are bad, patriarchy. It's ridiculous.
Communities made purely just to post pictures of men or to, dox men or do anything like these to just basically ruin the lives of a man.
What are your views on men as a whole then?
I don't hate them particularly. I constantly feel threatened, especially in relationships. I don't really show emotions to them. I don't, give them the time of day.
So would you describe yourself as involuntary celibate?
I'm not celibate, nor involuntarily. And I suppose a lot of people in the Femcel community who are involuntary celibate would consider me a fake cel, which is someone who's just basically lying about being a part of the community.
Why would you even talk to this person then? I mean, she's not what you're looking for. You're looking for a femcel, and she just said she's a fake cel. She's not celibate. So
hold a lot of their views.
For incels, it's the lack of sexual and relationship experience that makes them an incel. Whereas for femcels like Al, it is the past experiences that make them consider themselves femcels. It feels like Al's found this online community of like-minded people who may have had similar experiences. And
that seems kind of murky to me because I'm sure there's plenty of incels who are my past experiences are women don't like me. My past experiences are women reject me. My past experiences are women hurt me. Women do all these bad things to me. I have bad experiences with women. I've had bad experiences in life in general. So it could come down very much to experiences for incels.
And that is her definition of a femcel. And I'm really interested in trying to find out whether that's the case across the board, because it feels like it's a lot more complex than just being about sex. This time I'm looking in the
Notice how it's complex for women to be a femcel. But for a man to be an incel, he's just a degenerate creep who is so creepy he can't get women, and therefore he hates women, right? There's not this nuance. It's black and white. You're an incel, you're bad. You're a femcel, oh, we have to pity you. We have to feel sorry for you. Oh, there's nuance here. What is it?
most public online spaces.
So it's a lot of stuff about eating disorders, a lot of nihilistic mental health content that talks about not wanting to get better, not being able to get better, feeling very helpless.
It feels like it's way more about finding a space online to share feelings of loneliness and frustration than it is any kind of movement. But I have seen a lot of evidence of femcels directing their anger and that sadness inwards. And
do you have proof that the incels in general are a movement? How are they a movement? I mean, it's just a bunch of men going, women don't like me. What the hell? Women will reject me, and I don't understand why. I've been doing everything that society says I should do. I should be able to get a girlfriend, and I can't.
I want to understand where that's coming from. If I was to use the word femcel, what would that mean to you?
There are negative connotations with that word because it's so incel adjacent. And obviously incels are associated with extremism, violence, misogyny, that sort of thing. So for me, it's hard to escape from that negative meaning of the word.
Have you had any relationship experience?
I've never had a relationship, unfortunately. I've never had any sort of experience past a kiss. But I do feel shame about it because I'm 28. I feel like I'm...
What? Are you kidding me? Look at this girl. I don't know about you, but I think she's cute. Assuming she has narrow shoulders, so she looks like she's thin. Now, we don't know what's going on down lower. Maybe she's just got the grossest, biggest gross ass and chunky hips and everything. So that might be what's happening, because I've seen that happen. I've seen girls who look great in the upper body, but then their lower body's like a train wreck. So maybe that has something to do with it, but probably she's thin. I mean, odds are that if she is this thin as she looks here, she's thin all the way down. And her face is cute. I mean, her nose looks like it's crooked, but so what? I don't really care about that. I mean, her nose is a little bit crooked. Not a big deal. I would go out with this girl in a second. I would not even hesitate if a girl looked this good, it came up to me, and was like, hey, you're cute. I'd be like, okay, let's go. You and me right now. Now, when I was younger, I had no idea how to handle that situation, really. And so I'm sure I left a lot of girls frustrated, because a lot of girls did ask me out, and I did reject them. But I wonder if there's something else going on here with this girl, because she looks fine. Now they're going to talk more about her looks and stuff, so let's take a listen here.
I'm going to be 60 odd, 70, and I'm just going to have lived my life alone. And it's scary and it's depressing and isolating. The thing that is wrong with me is my facial appearance.
It's tricky for
Her facial appearance is what's wrong with her. Let's go back here because the interviewer wants to say something and we don't want to miss it. Again, I don't see anything wrong with her face. Maybe that's me. Maybe you see something I don't see. Let me know in the comments. Let's see what the interviewer has to say here.
It's tricky for me, so I don't want to be another person who you feel is dismissing your feelings, but it's hard for me to look at you because I just don't see you as unattractive at all. Why do you think it's that?
I suppose my body dysmorphic disorder, but also because of the fact that I've never seen anyone be attracted to me. I personally find myself very unattractive, and I think that I just apply that to everyone else. I get a lot of stares, get a lot of people might smirk, things like that, and I just think, yeah, it's because of what my face looks like. And when I go to these communities, you see lots of women who have experienced the same thing. It's nice in a way to have that validation that you're not crazy, that you're not wrong, and that it actually does happen. It's a place where I pretty much go every day just to read experiences, and it makes me feel a little bit better because I feel less alone.
The more
Okay then, no, you are crazy. If you think your face is bad, not bad. I'm sorry. We're gonna go back here. If you happen to be, I'm guessing this is in England. If you happen to be in England and know this girl, let her know that Anti-Woke Warrior thinks she's cute and would go out with her in a second. Of course, I'm married and I can't go out with her, and I also live in America, a long ways away from England. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with her face, and I think that a lot of these women, they're, you know, people don't think that much differently. A lot of these women are probably thinking the same thing. Some guy looked in her direction and smirked or something, or like made some comment to his friend quietly, and you thought he was talking about you and how unattractive you are, but really he was saying something that had nothing to do with you at all. Or maybe he was saying something like, wow, dude, I'd like to get with her. She's really cute. You know, something like that. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with her face. Is this a put on? Because she's fine. What the hell's wrong with her? I see a cute girl. I don't know.
The more women that I speak to in these spaces, the less worried I am about any kind of violence, and the more worried I am about the women themselves and their mental health. It feels like there's a real difference between the way Femcel communities are dealing with feelings of isolation and loneliness and the way the incel communities are dealing with the same feelings. I think I need to try and speak to someone with an insight into both these worlds to understand it better.
Really? There's a difference in the way that they're dealing with it. You see hatred towards men. You see self-deprecation, self-pity. Oh, that's the same with incels. I don't know what to tell you.
So I found a pretty big Femcel influencer, content creator who posts a lot on YouTube about her experience as a Femcel. Her name is Kidology.
When I reflect on why I haven't been in an intimate relationship, it isn't because I am picky. Every man that I have shown interest in has not reciprocated my
Okay, every man who you've shown interest in has not reciprocated your feelings. So what men are you going after because you're not bad looking? Again, Anti-Woke Warrior would scoop her up in a second. Maybe she's going after Giga Chads only. You have to remember that Anti-Woke Warrior is short. So that brings his attractiveness down to a lower level because he's not 6 feet tall. 6'1" is ideal, apparently, from what I've found doing my research. So I'm not that tall. My brother, 6 feet tall. My other brother's 6'2", bastards. I got the short gene. But anyway.
feelings.
The videos where you speak about the Femcel community, who tends to engage with that the most?
That's definitely a majority male audience. When I talk about sort of, especially inceldom, when I talk about things about physical attractiveness, about looks, that definitely does attract men. I think the algorithm has sort of associated me with those sort of topics.
How do Femcels and incels differ, either in their experiences or in their online identities?
I would say that incels very much see the world as the problems, particularly modern society and feminism and the ability for women to be far more picky about their partners, about who they have sex with, about who they form relationships with. Whereas most femcels that I've sort of seen online especially tend to see it as something that's wrong with them or something internal, especially their looks and having low self-esteem, low confidence, and that it's sort of something that they have to work on in order to eventually find those relationships.
So Femcel spaces might not be particularly violent. Al has some access to secret incel and Femcel groups, so I'm going to see if she can get me into them.
So what's the main things that you've found about the Femcel community?
To me, it seems like more of a kind of like space for women online.
It's deeply hidden in the way that you have to know someone in a server or somewhere on the internet to do it.
Now, one thing I do want to point out is this girl right here who already said that she's a fake cell and that she's not celibate. They don't show her face. We can't see how attractive she is, but that other girl that was saying, oh, it's my face, people don't like my face, I got the impression that she was more attractive than this girl, and this girl is getting some action. So, in fact, I'll take it a step further, and I see these, just lately I've seen a lot of this, these nasty women, the Jabbas. We'll just leave it at the Jabbas with these like tall Adonis guys, and I'm like, what's going on here? I'm sure he can get somebody better, but it must be the way that she treats him, because he could do better. He's the more attractive one in the situation.
Think that you might be a police officer or anything like that, they'll immediately just kick you. So you kind of have to almost blend in, and to blend in you have to be a part of these communities for at least a year.
I'd love to see some of the servers if you could show me the ones that you're in.
Servers like this, they'll have a channel and it will last 24 hours. Everything will be deleted. It'll be started again tomorrow morning. And so it's hard to navigate, which is why it's really difficult to track. There is like a lot of crude things like this, obviously, and incel like sexualizing women, and these characters are supposed to be young girls. This sort of humor is spread around. It's a kids' TV show, and it's just the caption of, rape, 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 and that's supposed to be absolutely hilarious.
What's the darkest thing you've ever seen?
Okay, so that's not funny. I don't know what to tell you. Incels, if you're doing that stuff, stop it, because it's not funny.
Seen in one of those?
I've been sent videos of women being raped.
I mean, how old were you the first time you saw something like that?
I would have been around 14. Youngest I'd seen gore was probably 11. There was a server that my housemate was in, and the server was a very harsh and psychotic server.
Do you think she could maybe show us?
I think she could. Yeah, I think she'd be willing.
It was this server that was advertised as like Femcels and incels only, extreme.
So this woman right here, again, she doesn't look bad. Just don't dye your hair that color, I would say, and then you could probably find somebody out there who would be willing to date you. But they're going to go into why they don't date, why they're femcels.
Extreme gore, extreme views. Do not enter if you're normal.
Have you had any experiences in real life that you think have informed either your opinion on men now or why you're in these spaces online?
Yeah, I met a guy online when I was pretty young. Actually, sexually assaulted me, basically. It happened 3 times to me.
I had a similar relationship when I was 14. I didn't know that me saying no and him continuing to do it was wrong at all. It's happened multiple times in relationships. Multiple.
What's your...
Okay, so that's not okay. Guys, don't treat women, don't treat anybody this way. If somebody says no, stop, I'm not feeling it, stop. And we all know, and in the United States, this is ingrained in us. There's obviously some men who don't, but typically men are very good about stopping because they don't want to get an accusation. It ruins your life here in the United States. I don't know about in the United Kingdom, how that goes. But yeah, don't treat women this way. But these women need to realize that not all men are going to mistreat you like that. Like me, I wouldn't do that. I would be horrified to take something that is supposed to be like this beautiful, intimate experience and then make it some ugly, violent experience. That's just not cool at all. So I feel sorry for these girls if they in fact have gone through that. We don't know for sure because we know here in the United States that just talking to a girl now is considered harassment, right? If you walk up to a girl and just try to chat her up, you're harassing her because she's just trying to go about her day and do her business. And how dare you, as an evil patriarchal man, think that you are entitled to any of her time? I don't know what to tell you. That's not harassment. Okay, it's called freedom of speech. We're allowed to talk to anybody we want to in this country. And then, of course, a lot of the women will not give you the time of day and will be rude to you and be highly disrespectful. So women can be mean too, ladies. Don't think that you're the only one out there who is experiencing something disrespectful. You can be in fact, women are so good at it and they know they're doing it, but they deny it. It's weird. So anyway.
Your experience largely been as part of this femcel world?
Seeing bad stuff, like people killing themselves, seeing people getting bullied, getting doxxed. I don't enjoy it, but at that time I was so bored. I was like, well, this is entertaining to me. I obviously know now that was fucked up and wrong, but at the time I was depressed enough to be like, well, I'm killing myself anyway, so why not?
What do you think the draw is for people to come back to that content over and over again?
It's like a sickening addiction, I think, that a lot of people really are struggling to get over with. It gives you this sense of just being trapped, and you can't go to your parents to talk about it because you've seen awful things. You're going to be judged. You said awful things.
Fundamentally, you're lonely, you feel isolated. You can't talk to your family, you can't talk to your teacher. Desensitization is a huge thing. But you do see it and you're like, interesting. You move on. You see another thing. You move on.
It feels to me like what I've seen so far, incels has the danger of spilling out into violent acts against other people. And it feels like the most violent things we're seeing in the femcel community are affecting femcells.
Men are taught it's kind of fine for you to lash out on other people, whereas women, well, constantly, well, it's your fault. I'm blaming you for it. Women will blame themselves for it. Like I said, these people ripped, molested, bullied, disowned by their own families, and society does teach these women, it's your fault, these things happen to you. And that makes the most radical femcels to me. Although femcels, incels have the similarity of anxiety, depression, bad lives, how it's self-internalized.
All right, so I don't know where you're coming from, because I was told everything was my fault. In fact, I'm still told everything is my fault. That's part of the evil patriarchy. I'm an evil white male, so I'm a white and male, which is doubly evil. I'm also straight. That's triply evil. So I'm told that it's all my fault. Everything that is wrong with my life, everything that is wrong with me is my fault. Now, find the manosphere, and the manosphere points out, no. The women in the Western world are entitled, especially in the United States. I mean, American Woman is a song from the 60s. This is nothing new. Cat Stevens sang Another Saturday Night in, 63? Women have always been cold towards men in the United States. I don't know if this is true in other countries. I don't think it is. I remember just meeting a Canadian woman once, and she was like totally cool and down to earth. And I'm like, Canada, that's like right there. It's very much like America. Yet the women there are cooler than the women here. Weird. Now that was just one woman. Maybe she's just an anomaly. I don't know what Canadians are like. I've met other Canadian women, and they did seem more reasonable than American women, and I got to know them better than this one that I mentioned in the beginning of my anecdote. But yeah, it's kind of ridiculous the way that women treat men in the Western world, especially in the United States. So that's the manosphere saying that. The larger society is saying, no, man, it's all your fault. You're the problem. You're the reason why the world sucks. In fact, the FBI, CIA, I guess, the CIA has said that white men are the biggest threat to the country, right? So
How much danger do you think there is that we could see a woman end up as violent as someone like Elliot Rodgers from this community?
I do think there is potential for like a real violent act. I think we will get there. And the world will go, oh my god, how did she do that? And I actually don't think it proves anything. Like specifically like, oh my god, women can do this too. I wouldn't see it like that. I'd say like, well, you let incels do it. You know, you let this happen, you let men get mentally ill. You know, you didn't let men express their emotions. You didn't get them the mental help they needed, and then they shot a place up. And now...
And so, whose fault is that? You can't show your feelings to a woman because she'll lose attraction to you. You can't show your feelings to your mates because they don't want to be around a blubbering idiot, right? You can, I mean, with some of your friends, you can be like, hey man, this is how I'm feeling. You can't like break down and lose it and stuff. That's just not the way that it works. But the real one that kicks you in the nuts is the women. The women you can't, like your life partner, you can't express sadness to, despair. Nope. That's a sign of weakness. She'll leave you. And that's, I mean, I know it's not that black and white, but that's kind of how it is, right? So now she did go on to say like, you're not getting men the mental health that they need. Yeah, well, the entire machine is designed to hurt men. Like the whole of Western society is like, men are the problem. Men need to step up. Men need to do the right thing, right? We hear that. When do we hear women need to step up? Women need to step up. Women need to do the right thing. When do we hear that? No, it was a bad man that made her do that. She was a nice lady, but just men pushed her to doing that, right? When a woman gets divorced, if a woman leaves the man, she's like, well, what did he do to make her leave, right? When a man gets divorced, how dare he leave her? And this is the way the whole of Western society works, or at least the whole of the United States works.
You know, women are getting more mentally ill. I think something like that will happen in a couple of years, and the world will be shocked and will go, oh my god, like, how could this happen? But I expect it, to be honest.
So I came into this thinking that I was trying to investigate what a femcel is and what that community is and what it means. I almost think that the word kind of doesn't matter, and it's so much broader than just this like idea of a femcel, because everyone I meet feels quite different and they inhabit sort of different spaces online, but the overarching thing that's connecting them, I think, is loneliness, and I think that's what draws them to these online spaces, and I think that that is the initial feeling that then creates resentment and extreme cases, hatred and anger. Owl and Anthrax, when they were deep in those servers, the things they were telling me, the things they were showing me, it didn't feel very different at all to the things I've seen in incel forums. The real danger here is danger to the women in those servers. They are incredibly vulnerable, and I think that is what's really, really scary.
And notice, of course, nobody says like, hey, the real danger to incels is the danger to themselves, right? Their own mental health breaking down and then them hurting themselves. I'm not saying it isn't worse for women. Maybe it is, but there is certainly a pattern of incels harming themselves. Men feeling worthless and useless to the world. What are they going to do? Men need to feel useful because men are disposable, right? We don't need as many men as we need women. Women are the protected class. They have to be for the species to survive, whereas we can have fewer men. So men have to feel useful. They just have to, because there is no purpose necessarily for a man. At least not an obvious purpose for a man. It's very obvious what women do, not so much for men. Anyway, that was a bit of a downer, I guess, this one. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.